Good morning. We are the Wong-Chen duo. I am Mr. Lewis, and this is Miss Chelsea. We are a violin and organ musical group, and we actually come all the way from New York City. Now, how many of you all have been to New York City? Quite a lot of you. So I'd like to see maybe a couple responses on what you think of when you see New York City. Anyone? Yes, you with the tie.
I can't get it right.
Oh, don't worry, don't worry. How about that big statue, the one holding the...
That one's really, it's really good because I did not know that was actually there.
That's right.
I didn't know they were building that.
So New York City, that's fine. The Statue of Liberty. Anyone else? You with the green bow. Real busy. That's right. There's a lot of traffic there. There's a lot going on. You with the glasses?
There's a lot of Broadway shows and stuff.
Broadway shows, yes. And we are here to also bring you music. Now, as I said before, we're a violin and organ group, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the violin. Now, of course, when you look at yourself in the mirror, you notice that you have different parts of your body, right? So you look at yourself and you look at this, and what is this called? That's right, it's called the nose. How about this right here? Very good. This right here? Good, the mouth. Now, the violin has parts as well. So, if you look at my violin here, let's start out with this guy right here, okay? Let's say that your mom is in the kitchen and she's cutting some vegetables. She's cutting vegetables on the cutting what? Right, cutting vegetables on the cutting board. Now this one is where I put my chin. If I cut vegetables on a cutting board, I put my chin on a chin. That's right, chin board. Okay, let's take a look at this guy right here, this wooden thing right here, okay? Let's pretend that I had some water going underneath here, and then I have my little guy right here, and he's going over the... Very good, this is called the bridge. All right, let's take a look at this right here. Now, let's say you were looking at a dog, but you're not looking at the face. You're not looking at the right part of the dog. You're looking at the other side of the dog. What are you looking at? Very good. This is called the tail. All right. Now, let's take a look at this, okay? This right here. This is obviously a hole, right? But now we have to figure out what type of hole that is. Let's say I had a letter. There's a long straight line here. There's a long line on the top, and then finally another long line in the middle. F, that's right. I heard it right there. That's the letter F. So this is called the F hole. And then finally, let's talk about a couple more things. Take a look at this thing right here, right? Let's say that I was Robin Hood, and I put an arrow right here, and I draw this back. What is this called? That is right. This is called the bow. And then finally, we're going to talk about the easiest thing in the world to remember about the violin, these things. Very good. They're the strings. Now, on a violin, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 strings, and the strings are tuned in what we call fifths. Now, the reason we call them fifths is because there are 5 notes between each string. So, if I start out with this string, this is the first note, second note, third note, and then fourth note, and the fifth note is the next string. Now, we've talked about the parts of the violin. Why don't we also talk about the names of the strings? This is the lowest one, right? someone wants to ask a question. Go ahead. That's right. That's the G string. If you want to think about it, you can think about an animal with a very, very low voice going grrr. G string. Now, let's say that you hit this string right here. And let's say you're really excited, so you go ee. What string is this? Very good. And the ones in the middle, very easy to remember. If you think of the word add, A-D, add. And if I added all these strings together and I play the song, it sounds a little bit like this. Thank you very much. Now, that was some fiddle music. I'm also from Texas. And that's sort of more popular, more folk type of music. Now we'd like to play something that is more in the classical style. We're going to play something by a man named Haydn. Now, Haydn was a composer from the country of Austria, and he was what you call a court composer. There was a royal family there, a family of kings and queens called the Esterhazy. And the same way you might have, say, like a court jester, a court clown that does different types of tricks, the court composer wrote different pieces for the kings and queens of Austria at that time. Now, Haydn wrote lots of different works. He wrote long works called symphonies that involved a lot of different stringed instruments put together. In fact, he wrote 108 symphonies. And we are going to play one of them right now. It's called the Surprise Symphony. Let's see if you can guess why it is called the Surprise Symphony. Did you hear the surprise? And what was that surprise? You in the front with the plaid shirt. Oh, you both have plaid shirts. The one to my right a little bit. You. And we also decided to add in the organ for that. And I would like for Miss Chelsea now to talk a little bit about the organ that she just played.
I'd like to know how many people here play the piano. A lot of hands, yes. And I'd like to know what do you think about the organ? What is similar to the piano? You in the front? The keys, yes, there are keys that look like piano keys. But you see there we have 4 levels of keys here. And what else do you see that's different from the piano? How about over here? The buttons, yes, there are buttons all over here. And they have numbers on them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all over the place. And those are little settings that I can set all these stops over here. These are called stops, and these also have words on them. You'll see flute, trumpet, string, principal, and these names tell you what these stops will sound like. So a flute will sound like this. Whereas a trumpet will be any other differences that you see? How about somebody here, one of the boys here in this row? Yes, you. Yes, what do we call these down here? These are called pedals, and how many of these pedals do you think there are down here? Anybody have a guess? How about here? 10? Anyone else? How about way in the back? How many? 5. I think it's a little bit more than 5 and 10. How about here? 20, more. Here. There are 32 pedals down here, and there are black and white notes, just like on the manuals here. So we're playing with our feet. We are playing 32 notes with your left and right feet, and we play with our toe and our heel. So instead of having 5 fingers on each hand, you have your toe and your heel on each foot. So you can play 4 notes at any given time together with your hands. So those are the main differences. Anything else anybody else wants to say? How about you in the blue shirt? Yes. Yeah, these things up here, good eye. These are called couplers, and what these do are they bring the sounds that come, some of these sounds are only on this keyboard, and some of these stops go for this keyboard, and if you want to combine them, you put this coupler and it brings these sounds to the other manual, so you can play full organ. You can pull all the stuff and play it all on one manual. That's what that's for. I'm going to play a little piece for you, and I think you may know this. I played this game as a child, Super Mario. And Mario actually has been around for almost 30 years, and a lot of people know it. There are lots of different themes and music that you will hear in this. And my favorite part about it with the organ is that you can imitate every little tiny sound in the game, everything from the coins that Mario eats, to the swimming music, to the underground music. All of it is there in the organ. So this is a Super Mario Fantasia.
very quickly, I just want to quiz you guys. Who knows what country Mario is from? How about someone here on the right? How about you in the second row right there? Go ahead. Okay, yes, Mario himself is from Italy. Now, where was the game made? Girl with the glasses. Close. One more country over. Boy in the red shirt over there. Yes. Sorry? A different continent. Let's see. Boy in the blue shirt. Sorry? Okay, that is the right continent. Super Mario was made in Japan. That's right. And we're going to also play a couple more pieces that is Japanese in origin as well. The next few pieces are written by a friend of ours. Her name is Yui Kitamura. She was born in Japan, and then she came here and became an American. These are 3 folk songs. The first one is about the spring. The second one is the Song of the Sea, and the third one is about autumn. Now, when I first heard these pieces, the first time I ever played these pieces, I told Yui, "Wow, Yui, these songs sound really familiar. What was your inspiration?" And you know what she said? Disney. So listen to the way we play these pieces and see if you can hear a little bit of that as well.
like to play one more piece for you before we take questions. And this is a piece that I composed for us to play about 3 years ago. It's called Emmanuel Suite. And it's named after the church that I attend in New York City. It's Emmanuel Presbyterian Church. And these are 3 of my favorite hymn tunes. And Louis and I particularly love the third one, which is a little bit tongue-in-cheek, a little bit of a lighthearted take on leaning on the everlasting arms. The first movement is Praise to the Lord, the Almighty, and the second is Alas, and did my Savior bleed?
All right, so you all ready for question time with Mr. Lewis and Miss Chelsea? All right, boy with the red shirt in the front. There's a lot of you, but. Is my violin a Stradivarius? Well, let's see. You want to guess how much a Stradivarius costs? How much? Actually, that's quite close. It can be 60, 70, 80 million dollars. Yeah, yep. This is not a Stradivarius. This is an Italian violin, Italian like Mario, but it was not made at the same time as a Stradivarius. A Stradivarius would be about, let's say, 350 years old. This one is only about 100 years old. All right, girl in the front. How long have we been playing our instruments? Miss Chelsea?
I've played the piano since age 3 and organ since I was 15.
I've played the violin since I was a little bit before 3, maybe 2.5 or something like that. And I'm not talented like Chelsea, so I don't play other instruments.
How about you in the front? Yeah. What does Stradivarius mean? Stradivarius is the name of a family of violin makers in Italy. They were a family, I think I should actually have Lewis answer this question.
Yes, they were a family, and they were known as sort of the best family in that region. Let me give you an example. So the last question I answered about a Stradivarius also had countries in them. It had the country of Italy in them. Now, what is the best state for barbecue? Thank you, Texas. So the best country for violins is Italy, and the best family for making those violins in the country are the Stradivarius family. Next question. Girl with the green bow in the back. Who taught us how to play? Okay, Miss Chelsea?
I had many wonderful teachers. My first piano teacher was Jane Bastian, and if you play the piano and you've seen some of these books, she writes many piano method books, the Bastian piano series. And later I had many good organ teachers in San Diego and in Annapolis, Maryland, and then in New York.
I had about 10 different teachers growing up, and at first I thought, wait a minute, I've had so many teachers, why am I not getting any better? And then I realized, you know what? I didn't practice enough. So when I had teacher number 10, I started practicing many, many, many hours a day, and then I started getting good at the violin. All right, boy in the back. Yes, you. I can't, what do you say?
Can you stand up so we can hear what you asked? Oh, okay. No problem. No problem. How about boy in the pink shirt? Is the organ hard to play? Well, that is definitely a good question. It is hard to play, but everything is difficult when you first start because everything is new. It's like learning a new language. You don't even know how to say hello. And first, you just have to learn a little bit about the coordination of your hands and feet. Then you have to learn about what sounds to choose on the organ because you're picking these stops and you have to know what sounds good together. So that takes a lot of time. And then finally, you're hitting these buttons too. It's not just the notes, you're hitting the buttons to change the sounds. So there's a little bit of coordination there. And all those things are You know, if you're good at playing video games, actually, you get very coordinated in a certain way, but everybody learns how to play something, and it takes time, but I wouldn't say it's the hardest thing, you just have to work at it.
Let me just see a show of hands. How many people here play an instrument? Oh, wow. Well, like most of the people here play the instrument. All right, good. So you know that there is also a real time of learning in which you don't sound very good at all. Like when you first start playing the violin, you sound like you're scratching a cat for the first year until you finally get good at it. All right, girl in the front? Well, how many hours a day do we play? It depends. Before a concert, we play a lot. Sometimes we take vacations, like people who do other jobs. And then, you know, sometimes we have breaks on Saturdays or Fridays where we just go out and have a pizza or have an ice cream and we don't play at all. All right. Girl in the dark coat.
The keys what? I think the question is, when I was playing, she noticed that things were changing almost like I didn't do anything. Well, the truth is, when we go back to these buttons here, I'm hitting these, and it appears like they're coming out of thin air. These stops are going in and out. But actually, I am controlling that because I set those stops ahead of time, and then I hit the button, and it changes. So for instance, while I'm playing, I can hold down the same chord, and I can get different sounds just by hitting those buttons that I set up ahead of time. Here. How long does it take to get really good at an instrument? Oh, that's a very difficult question to answer. I think for everybody it's different. And I think that at the minimum level, you need several years to just get the basics of playing and learning all the technique. And I think along the way, you don't even realize that you're getting better sometimes. It takes you. If you look back, you can see, wow, I made a lot of progress, but sometimes when you're practicing, you don't notice that you're actually getting better until you look back.
Also, there is a right way and a wrong way to practice. Now, when I was little, I used to like to play the violin and watch TV at the same time. That is the wrong way to practice. The other thing you have to realize is that a lot of times you can know where you are if you look in the mirror and ask myself, does what I play sound good? If it sounds good, then you've practiced very well. If it doesn't sound so good, and you know what I'm talking about, that means you've got to practice more. You can't just count the number of hours and say, well, I played 10 hours. I must be good enough. No, it has to sound good. All right, girl with glasses in the front. Where have we played before? That's a good one.
We have played in some wonderful places in the US. We've played in Philadelphia at the Kimmel Center. We've played here in Texas a couple of times, in California, throughout the US, and then we've also toured in Japan, Australia, Indonesia, Taiwan. We've been to Ukraine, Germany, Austria, England. A lot of those places were churches, and some are concert halls. Yes. Yes, you. Together? The question is, how long have we been playing together? We've been playing together a little over 4 years. Question from you. Was I nervous at my first concert? I think so. You know, I played a recital, just one little piece, along with all the other students of my piano teacher, I think at the age of 6. I played one piece, short piece, and everybody had to play. And I remember that my teacher was very adamant that we all learn how to bow properly. So after the recital, we went back up on stage and took a bow so that she could correct our posture and the way we smiled at the audience, because to her, that was one of the most important things. And I think it's great for everybody at every age to learn not just to play, but to present themselves in public.
Well, my first concert, well, I told you that I started my violin when I was maybe 2.5 or something. So when I was 3, my mom said, "You're ready to play a concert." So I remember my first concert. Well, actually, I don't remember this because I tried to block it out of my memory. There was a little group of 3-year-old violin-playing kids. And my mom dragged me out there on the stage, and everyone started playing, and I started crying. And then I ran back to my mom, and I'm like, "Mom, they're looking at me." I want to say one thing about performing, though, and that's everyone gets scared in the beginning, but you kind of get used to it. Let me give you an example, okay? Let's say that you go to a church or a synagogue or a mosque. You're going to your normal service, right? Now, you can't be sitting there in your seat scratching your head and scratching your leg and scratching your arms, right? If you get itchy, no, you just gotta sit there and be itchy. It's the same thing when you play on stage. If you get scared, you just keep playing, and after a while, you just get used to feeling that way, the same way you get used to being itchy when you're in church or you're in synagogue. All right, boy to the very left, not behind you, you. I can't hear. What do you?
The question was, how long have you had this instrument?
Well, Chelsea, how long have you had your instrument?
How long have I had my instrument? Well, this organ I have only met the last 3 days. We came here on Tuesday night, and I started practicing here on Wednesday. The interesting thing with the organ is you can never take it with you. It belongs to the place. And so every place I play, I'm playing on a different instrument, which is its own challenge because I have to get used to the new surroundings every time. A pianist is the same. You don't generally take your piano with you on the road. But when you have a violin, this is possible. You can take it with you on the plane, you can bring it with you, and I think Louis has had this violin for the last 7 years.
Yeah, about the last 7 years. Now, Miss Chelsea, would you like to have an organ like this?
This is a fantastic organ right here. This is really a treasure for Amarillo, and you're very lucky to have it here. And of course, if I could take it, it would be nice, but I have no place for such a thing in my tiny apartment. Okay, I think we have time for a couple more questions. How about second row there? You're wearing the white, yes, jacket. What's the most famous place that I have played at? Let's see.
There's a lot of them.
I think Louis's most famous place that he's played at is Carnegie Hall in New York City. It's a very, very famous concert hall that all the great artists have graced the stage at. And unfortunately, Carnegie Hall doesn't have an organ, so I haven't played there. But my favorite place that I've played in the US is in Los Angeles at Disney Hall. And the Disney Hall is where the Los Angeles Philharmonic plays. It's a beautiful building, an incredible organ. I think we have one more question. You want to take it?
Sure. Girl with the bun in the back. Are we related?
We are not related. I grew up in San Diego, My father is from Taiwan, my mom is from Oklahoma, and Louis.
Well, like I said, I was born and raised in Texas. I'm from Dallas, and that's just what I've known all of my life. I probably went to New York about, 2000. So I've been in New York for about 14 years.
So we thank you so much for being great listeners, and we'll hope that you enjoyed it, and thank you for coming.